Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, December 22. Approximately 302 passengers who arrived on a flight from the United Kingdom, UK, on Monday afternoon are now in a state of quarantine for a minimum of 48 hours. The outcome follows a ban by the government on all flights from the UK to Jamaica for 2 weeks, ending January 4, 2021. All other flights scheduled to arrive in the country have been cancelled. The decision is as a result of an outbreak of a new strain of the coronavirus in that country. All 302 passengers will not only be subjected to a minimum of 48 hours of state quarantine, but also to PCR testing. The Ministry of Health and Wellness says passengers who test negative will be fitted with armbands for monitoring and released to complete their 14-day quarantine at home. Meanwhile, those found to be positive will be isolated in state facilities until they have recovered. Family members of passengers will be able to pick up their relatives after the minimum 48-hour quarantine, and those with concerns may call the ministry's 888-1LOVE number, that's 888-663-5683. A firm warning is also being issued to relatives to adhere to the infection prevention and control measures when picking up their family members. The same should be practiced during the mandatory quarantine period, as persons may develop symptoms during the 14 days and transmit the virus to others. In the meantime, Jamaicans are strongly advised not to travel to the UK at this time. Those who travel overseas, including to the UK, will be subject to the established quarantine or isolation procedures on their return to Jamaica. The Ministry of Health says it will be working with the various airlines to support the repatriation of UK residents who are in the island and wish to return to their country. It also notes that cargo flights from the UK are exempted from the current travel ban. The National Housing Trust, NHT, is projected to spend $58 billion in the 2021-2022 financial year and another $65 billion in the following fiscal period as it continues to provide affordable housing solutions for Jamaicans. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Senator Aubin Hill, made the disclosure in the Senate on Friday. He was piloting the National Housing Trust Amendment Special Provisions Act 2020.
With that volume of expenditure, the government will remain focused on solving the market failure and bring more housing solutions that Jamaicans can afford to the market.
Senator Hill said the government is increasing its investment in housing development despite the continued annual withdrawal of $11.4 billion from the NHT to support the budget for the next 5 years. Jamaica has been upgraded in 12 recommendations by the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force, CFATF. It is an organization of states and territories of the Caribbean Basin which have agreed to implement common countermeasures against money laundering and terrorism financing recommended by the Financial Action Task Force, FATF. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith, says the upgrade follows an application for reclassification. She says it is also an indication that work to improve the country's anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism framework to meet international standards is continuing to reap success.
The government is actively seeking to continue to improve our ratings by taking the necessary legislative and administrative measures to address deficiencies.
Senator Johnson-Smith was piloting 2 orders during the sitting which will serve to further strengthen the country's anti-money laundering and counter-financing of terrorism framework. They are the Banking Services, Designated Financial Services, Business of Buying and Selling Foreign Currency Order 2020, and the Banking Services, Designated Financial Services, Provision of Electronic Retail Payment Services Order 2020. Businesses and consumers will have until June 2021 to become fully compliant with the measures under the 3rd phase of the ban on single-use plastics. Phase 3 of the ban on plastics takes effect on January 1 and will address the importation, distribution, manufacture, and use of commercial single-use plastic bags of dimensions not exceeding 24 by 24 inches. The ban also includes single-use drinking straws made wholly or in part of polyethylene or polypropylene that's attached to juice boxes and drink pouches. Environment Minister Pernell Charles Jr. told a virtual press conference Friday that the decision to grant a 6-month transition and review period before fully enforcing the ban followed discussions with stakeholder groups.
Within this period of time, it is expected that the private sector will deplete or replace all affected products currently circulated in the trade. 2, it is expected that they will ensure that the production processes are retrofitted as appropriate to facilitate compliance with the provisions of the ban. And 3, the public sector will ramp up its public education and awareness raising activities. Now, let me make it very clear that in this period of time, we will have to have ongoing review to ensure its effectiveness. Our goal is a mutual one. It is to advance the policy of the government to protect the people of Jamaica.
The private sector continues to invest heavily in Destination Jamaica, with the latest being a $3 million investment by Chukka Caribbean Adventures, the Ocean Outpost Sandy Bay Adventure Park, which was opened recently in Hanover. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says he is particularly pleased that the opening of the attraction is providing jobs for workers as the country manages the global pandemic.
We are a destination that is safe, secure, and seamless, and that we are thought leaders in many areas, that we are managing this COVID pandemic effectively and as well as any other, even better than most, but we are managing in a way that inures to confidence.
Chukka Ocean Outpost is for nature lovers and ocean and cultural explorers. It offers all-terrain vehicles, horseback riding, among other things. And finally, residents of infirmaries and Golden Age homes will be able to connect virtually with loved ones during the holidays, courtesy of a donation of smartphones to the island's care facilities. More than 40 smartphones donated by telecommunications provider Digicel were handed over recently to the local government ministry. Portfolio Minister Desmond McKenzie says the devices support the ministry's program, Virtually Connected While Staying Socially Distant initiative. The program was recently implemented in residential care facilities against the background of COVID-19 restrictions.
Many of our residents in the infirmaries and our Golden Age home has been unable to make contact with their relatives and friends because from March we were quick on the draw in placing a ban on visits to infirmaries.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.